Every Halloween, we decorate our homes, light our pumpkins, and pretend we're not afraid. But the truth is, Halloween doesn't need monsters. It just needs you to open the wrong door. You're watching Scary Nights by Malik. Tonight isn't just another Halloween special. These are 3 true Halloween nightmares, stories that still keep people awake. So turn down the lights, forget about the world outside, and listen carefully. Because what you're about to hear happened when the masks came off.
They say every Halloween there's one house you should never trick-or-treat at. Not because it's empty, but because the door always opens, even when no one's inside. It was Halloween night, cold and quiet, and the moon hung low like a dull yellow eye. 12-year-old Danny Parker and his little sister Ellie were out for one last round of trick-or-treating before heading home. They'd hit almost every house on their street, except one. The house at the very end of Hollow Creek Lane, the one everyone called the Graves house. It looked forgotten. Dark windows, dead grass, no decorations. But a faint porch light flickered, like it was waiting for someone. "Come on," Danny said, grinning behind his vampire mask. "One more house. For extra candy." Ellie tugged on his sleeve. "Mom said not that one." Danny laughed. "It's fine. Nobody even lives here." They climbed the creaking steps, the boards groaning under their feet. The air smelled like dust and something else. Rot. Old and sweet. Danny knocked once. No answer. He started to turn away, and then the door creaked open. The hallway inside was dark, no lights, no movement. "Trick or treat," Danny called. His voice echoed back, hollow and thin. Ellie whispered, "Danny, let's go." Then, something moved in the dark. A shadow. And a voice, soft and dry, whispered, "Take one, and go." Danny blinked. "Hello?" From the darkness, a hand appeared. Pale, thin, bones showing through the skin. It held out a small, crumpled paper bag. Danny hesitated. Then he laughed nervously and took it. The door closed slowly behind them, by itself. "Creepy old person," Danny muttered as they walked away. But Ellie didn't laugh. She kept staring at the bag in his hand. "Danny," she whispered, "it's moving." He looked down. The paper bag was rustling, shifting, like something inside was alive. He froze. "Probably candy settling or something," he said, but his voice shook. They ran home. Their mom yelled from the couch, "You two get inside, it's late." They threw off their coats, laughing breathlessly. Danny dropped his bag of candy on the floor, then carefully placed the paper one from the Graves house on the table. It was lighter now, almost empty. He peeked inside. No candy, just one thing. A small, yellowed bone, like from a finger. "Gross!" Ellie screamed. Danny frowned. Probably fake, like a Halloween prop. But when he picked it up, it was warm and sticky. He dropped it fast. It hit the floor with a dull clack. Ellie started crying. "Throw it away, Danny. Please." He sighed, grabbed the bag, and took it to the trash can outside. He tossed it in, shut the lid, and went back in. But that night, he heard the sound. Scratch, scratch, scratch. From the back door, like something trying to get in. He looked through the window, nothing there. But when he turned around, Ellie was standing in the hallway, pale as chalk. "It's back," she whispered. "The bag." Danny's heart stopped. There it was, sitting on the kitchen table again. Wet, torn, and heavier than before. He opened it with trembling hands. Inside were more bones now, a handful, and something else, a small tooth. He dropped it. "What the hell?" Ellie screamed. The bag moved again. Something inside shifted, pressing against the paper. And then, from inside the bag, came a voice. Small, raspy. "Trick or treat?" Danny backed away, shaking. "It's just a prank. It's just..." The bag fell over. A long, bony hand slid out, crawling across the table. Ellie ran. Danny grabbed a knife. "Stay back!" he shouted. The hand stopped. Then another one came out, and another, until a small, broken figure pulled itself free. A child-sized skeleton, its skull cracked, its eye sockets hollow. Danny dropped the knife and stumbled back. The thing tilted its head. Its jaw creaked open. "Thank you," it whispered. Ellie cried, "For what?" The skeleton smiled and pointed at Danny. Then the lights went out. He heard the bag tearing, bones clattering, and something wet. Ellie screamed, then silence. When the lights came back on, Ellie was alone. Danny was gone. Only the paper bag sat on the floor, filled again, heavier now, soaked through with something dark. She screamed and ran to her mother's room, crying. But when her mom rushed out, the bag was gone. No one ever found Danny. Not that night. Not ever. But on Halloween 1 year later, Ellie swore she saw him again. Through a fogged window, across the street. A boy in a vampire mask holding a paper bag. He waved at her. And when he turned, bones rattled inside the bag he carried. She ran to the window, pressed her face to the glass. The boy was gone. Only the bag remained, sitting on her porch. It was already moving. They say that if you ever find a paper bag on Halloween night, and it's already half full, don't touch it. Don't open it. Don't even look inside. Because it's not candy that fills it. It's what's left of the last kid who did. Tell us in the comments, would you dare open the bag if it showed up at your door this Halloween night?
It started with a knock. Not loud, not soft, just wrong. 3 knocks. Slow. Hollow. Like bones tapping wood. I was home alone that Halloween night. The street outside was quiet. No more kids, no more laughter. Just the wind and the faint sound of dry leaves dragging across the road. When I opened the door, no one was there. Only a small brown paper bag sitting on my porch. No name. No note. Just a single red ribbon tied around the top. I looked up and down the street. Empty. The porch lights flickered in the distance, but every house looked still. Asleep. I thought maybe a kid left it behind, so I brought it inside. The moment I set it on the kitchen table, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. One text. Don't open it. I froze. Before I could reply, the message disappeared, like it was never sent. I stared at the bag. It was small, maybe the size of a lunch sack. Something inside moved. Just a little shift, like something alive. I backed away. "Hello?" I said quietly, feeling stupid for talking to a paper bag. It moved again, then stopped. The house felt colder all of a sudden, the air heavy. And then, another knock. Same rhythm. 3 times. I opened the door again. This time, she was standing there. An old woman. Thin, hunched, wearing a long black coat. Her hair was gray and wild, her eyes dark and wet like she'd been crying. She smiled, slow, like her face had forgotten how. "Did you open it?" she asked softly. Her voice cracked, like something dry snapping. "No," I said, my voice shaking. "Who are you?" She didn't answer. Her head tilted slightly. "Good. Don't open it. Not yet." I tried to close the door, but her hand shot out. Cold, dry fingers grabbing the edge. "Please," she whispered. "Keep it until midnight." "What is it?" I asked. Her eyes flicked toward the bag inside my kitchen. "My soul," she said. I stared at her, half expecting her to laugh. But she didn't. She looked terrified. Before I could say anything, she turned and started walking away, bare feet scraping against the cold pavement. I wanted to call after her, but something in me said not to. When I went back inside, the bag was open. The ribbon was untied. And inside was nothing. Just black dust and a faint smell of burnt candles. I swear I hadn't touched it. I grabbed my phone again. No messages, no number to call, just silence. Around 11, the power went out. The whole house went dark. Only the sound of wind through the window screens. I lit a candle. That's when I saw it. Fingerprints on the table. Long, thin ones, smeared in black dust. Something whispered behind me. "Thank you for keeping it safe." I turned around. No one there. The candle flame bent, flickering toward the hallway. I followed, heart pounding. At the end of the hall was the front door. It was wide open. Cold air poured in, carrying the smell of something rotten. And outside, in the yard, the old woman stood again. But this time, she wasn't alone. There were shapes behind her. Shadows. Human, but wrong. Faces too long. Eyes empty, all watching me. She lifted her hand. "Midnight," she said. "It's time to return what's mine." I don't have anything," I shouted. She smiled. "You do now." The shadows began to move closer. The candle went out. Everything went black. When I opened my eyes, I was sitting at the kitchen table. Morning light coming through the window. The bag was gone. Everything looked normal. For a moment, I thought maybe it was a dream, until I saw the red ribbon tied around my wrist. I tried to pull it off, but it wouldn't move. It was stuck tight, like part of my skin. Then my phone buzzed again. A text. Same number. "Thank you for keeping her soul. Now she keeps yours." I dropped the phone. My reflection in the window looked different. Older. My hair had turned gray at the ends. My eyes, darker. That night, I saw her again. Across the street this time, watching me from the shadows. She smiled, lifted her hand, and mouthed the words, "See you next Halloween." And now, every year, the knock comes again, always 3 times, always at midnight. And when I open the door, there's a new paper bag waiting for me. Each one smaller than the last. They say witches can't die. They just trade souls, one by one, until the debt is paid. So if you ever hear 3 knocks on Halloween night, don't open the door, don't answer the text, and whatever you do, don't touch the bag, because she's still looking for the next one. Tell us in the comments, what would you do if a witch asked for your soul this Halloween night? The screaming started just after midnight, not far away, right next door. A single sharp scream, then silence. That kind of silence that feels alive. Watching. I remember because I was sitting by the window eating leftover Halloween candy, watching the jack-o'-lanterns flicker outside. The kids had all gone home. The street was empty. Just me, the quiet houses, and that scream echoing in my head. My name's Kevin. I just moved into Maple Drive 2 weeks before Halloween. The neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. Clay, seemed nice. Older couple, always polite, always smiling. But that night, something about their house felt off. The lights were still on, even though it was past midnight. The curtains moved, like someone was standing just behind them. I told myself it was nothing. Maybe a TV, maybe the wind. But then, I saw it. A shadow in their window. Tall, still, just standing there, facing my house. I froze. The pumpkin on my porch went out by itself. Flame snuffed out. And then, 3 knocks on my front door. Slow, even, like whoever it was, wasn't in a hurry. "Hello?" I called out, trying to sound normal. No answer. I looked through the peephole. No one there, just the empty street and the clay house glowing faintly through the fog. When I opened the door, there was something on my porch. A candy bucket, orange plastic, and inside, a single wrapped chocolate bar. My favorite kind. But the wrapper was torn, and inside wasn't candy. It was a small piece of paper. 4 words written in shaky handwriting. "We're not alive anymore." I stood there, heart racing. The porch light flickered. And across the street, I saw them, Mr. and Mrs. Clay, standing side by side in front of their house, still smiling, still waving, like nothing was wrong. I blinked, and they were gone. The yard was empty. I didn't sleep that night. Every sound made me jump. The wind, the pipes, the soft ticking of the clock. At around 2 a.m., I heard footsteps on my porch. Slow, dragging ones. Then the sound of my doorknob turning. "Who's there?" I shouted. The noise stopped. I grabbed a flashlight and ran to the window. Nothing. But in the morning, I found muddy footprints leading from the Clays' front yard straight to my porch. Bare feet. Small ones. Like a child's. I decided to check on them. Maybe it was a prank. Maybe they were fine. Their mailbox still had letters from days ago. The grass was overgrown. When I knocked on their door, it creaked open by itself. "Mr. Clay?" I said. "Mrs. Clay?" The air inside smelled like dust and something sour. The house was dark. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling. A bowl of rotten candy sat on the table, flies buzzing around it. Then I saw the photos on the wall, old black and white pictures of the Clays, decades younger. One of them had a date written at the bottom, October 31st, 1978. My breath caught. That was nearly 50 years ago. I turned toward the living room and froze. They were there, sitting on the couch, Mr. and Mrs. Clay, smiling just like before, but gray, dry, lifeless. Their skin looked like paper, their eyes, empty holes. I stumbled backward, gasping, my flashlight shaking. Then Mrs. Clay's head slowly turned toward me. Her mouth opened, and in a low, whispering voice, she said, "You shouldn't have answered the door." I ran. Out the house, down the steps, straight home. I slammed my door shut, locked it, and grabbed my phone. But when I called the police, the call wouldn't go through. Just static. Then, a soft knock came from the back door. I didn't move. Another knock. Then another. And a voice, faint and calm. "Kevin, it's cold outside. Let us in." It was Mr. Clay. I could hear the smile in his voice. But there was something else. A sound behind him. Whispering. Dozens of whispers. I crept to the kitchen window. My breath fogged the glass as I peeked out. And there they were. Not just the Clays. Children. Teenagers. Old men. All standing in my backyard. Their eyes black. Their faces pale as wax. Every one of them staring right at me. Then, together, they said, "Welcome to Maple Drive." The lights in my house flickered out. I dropped the flashlight. It rolled across the floor. When I picked it up again, someone was standing in my hallway. A little girl. Wet hair. Empty eyes. She pointed at me. "You moved into our house," she whispered. "No," I said, backing away. This is my house." She tilted her head. "Not anymore." Behind her, the shadows started moving, faces forming in the dark, whispers growing louder. I tried to run, but my legs wouldn't move. The front door opened by itself and the cold air rushed in, smelling of dirt and decay. I swear I heard them laughing. Not loud, just soft, like they were happy to be home again. When I woke up, it was morning. The sun was out, birds chirping. Everything looked normal. The Clays' house across the street was gone. Just an empty lot. No foundation, no mailbox, nothing. I went outside to make sure I wasn't losing it. That's when I saw the for sale sign in my own yard. It said, "Sold. New owners moving in." October 31st. I went cold. Today is October 31st, and tonight, someone else will move in. So if you ever move to Maple Drive, and your neighbors smile too much, wave too long, and never blink, leave. Because they're not saying hello. They're waiting for you to die. Tell us in the comments, What would you do if you found out your neighbors were already dead this Halloween night?